lot of pot smoking, so I wouldn't trust his memory too much.
Um, so then you were born, and Rini wasn't working anymore.
Right.
How
She
old
never
were you?
worked from the, when I, from the, I don't even know if she worked, she might have not worked from the time she got married. That was a time when it was a mark of honor for your wife not to work.
Mm-hmm.
It meant you could provide.
And they provided pretty well, because then you moved to a house in Belmont.
Yes. It turns out that he did much better than I ever knew, because my parents, both of them, adhered to a philosophy of like letting us believe, not that we were poor exactly, but that everything they ever did was a big sacrifice. Like they wanted us to go to summer camp, but we needed to understand it was a big sacrifice that they were paying for. Well, later on, when I was older and he would confide in me as he was preparing to die and wanted me to know what his estate was and so forth, it was very clear that he had amassed and saved hundreds of thousands of dollars. And it was no hardship to be sending his kids to summer camp. It was more like a philosophy that they wanted to impart.
And this wasn't all in gold coins and shoe boxes in the closet? This was in a bank?
No. There were gold coins and silver coins that he had been collecting that were hidden in the basement of the house. There was like sand or something around the sand in the basement around the hot water heater and the
You would hide it in there?
Yeah, he would hide it in there.
But
right.
You knew it was there?
Yeah, he told me just in case something happened to him. I was supposed to go digging in there and find it, but I was supposed to never, ever, ever, ever sell it, because, in case we had to leave the country in a rush, that would be good. It would be negotiable anyplace. That was the mindset.
Was that the mindset only after the Holocaust or also before the Holocaust? Or you wouldn't know that?
I don't know that. I think it was very much the mindset after the Depression. Might have been more the Depression than the Holocaust. Holocaust was never discussed in my house. Never discussed. I was never told that we had any relatives that were directly impacted, although it would be hard to believe that we didn't. It was never discussed. And when I chose to take German in high school, and I give my parents a lot of credit for this, because they both had plenty of prejudices that they had been socialized into believing, and my mother had a harder time giving them up than my father did. They themselves would not buy German products, which is very common among people of their generation. So I knew, for example, they wouldn't buy a Volkswagen. But they never said negative things about Germans per se, and they never said don't study German when I chose to take it in high school. So I saw that as a good thing.
Why wasn't Nate involved in the war? Was he too old?
No, he had a medical, it wasn't that he was too old. He had a medical disability, and I forget what it was. Something was wrong. That wasn't something that caused him any problem on a daily basis, but that disqualified him from being in the Army.
So by the time you were, how soon after they got married were you born, do you know?
Oh yeah, 1 year after, exactly 1 year after.
Right on it.
Yeah, well she was 30 and he was 40, so, or 39, so.
And how long after that did you move to the house in Belmont?
We were, in Belmont or Dorchester?
Oh, it was after that you moved to Dorchester?
When I was first born, I lived on Cambridge Street. I lived on Magazine Street in Cambridge. I only know that because I was told that. Obviously, I don't remember it. But when I was a baby, they moved and rented the second floor of Nanny's house, probably because they wanted more room in a neighborhood, I'm guessing.
And then how long did you live there?
Then they had Jeff when I was 4.5 years old. And when I was 9, we moved to Belmont, where I was in 5th grade with Ronnie Kessler, hence the friendship.
And when did your grandmothers die?
My father's mother died when I was 13, and my mother's mother died somewhere where I was a teenager. I'm going to say 15 or 16. She died in bed one day. Like, Uncle Bill, when she was living alone, Uncle Bill went by to check on her. He had a very close relationship with her. And he went and checked on her regularly. He came in one morning and she had died in her sleep. But my paternal grandmother, I believe, had a stroke and was in the hospital and died there.
Do you remember feeling sad when they died?
Yes.
Particularly for Renee's mother?
Yes, actually, we went over and she was in bed dead when Bill called, and my mother went over and she brought me with her. And it was the first time I'd seen a dead person, and was struck by how the person is not there anymore, just a shell. Yes, I was sad when both of them died, because I did have a relationship with the paternal grandmother. It's just that we couldn't really talk because she really didn't speak any English.
But you said you could barely talk with Renee's mom too.
Right, but she, someone might have a few words, but they make an effort to make themselves understood. The paternal grandmother was like more of a rigid person.
Did Renee and Nate speak Yiddish in the home at all?
Occasionally. I understood it though because I was studying German. It's very similar, Yiddish and German.
Would they try to say things without you understanding in Yiddish?
Yes, but I understood.
Okay, we could stop there for now.
We could keep going if you want to.
Okay. So then Jeff was born. Run me through all of your parents' siblings again, because I don't know all these people. Bill, I mean, I've heard the
Okay,
names.
so Uncle Bill lived with us for a while because he kept getting married and divorced. And Uncle Bill married and divorced 3 times. Well, he was married 3 times. So I never knew his first wife, and his second wife was Bert. And when he separated from her, he had no place to live, and my mother and father, he liked my father very much. My father got along very well with him. He and my mother had always had friction. And but she took him in anyhow, and he lived with us for a few months. And during that time, he and I and Jeff and he became close.
How old were you?
We were in Belmont at the time, so I was probably 10, 11, 12, somewhere in there. And Uncle Bill used to get up. He used to get up very early in the morning, like 4 in the morning. He had a very successful florist business in Newton, Massachusetts, the Flower Bouquet it was called. And he would get up himself always, even though he had employees, and go to the flower market in Boston to pick the best flowers. So consequently, he would go to sleep very, very early.
And he didn't marry again after that?
He did. He married evil Aunt Louise. He had one child, Jan, my cousin Jan.
That's cousin Jan.
Cousin Jan was his only child.
Jan Howlick, who's also in the flower business.
Yes, she is.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Now she's Jan Channon. And she was the only child he ever had. And he really loved her. And it was a huge custody fight with Bert, his crazy second wife. She really was crazy. And, but very pretty. And third wife was Aunt Louise.
And then Billy, I know, and that's the.
So there was Aunt B, who you didn't know, who by the way died of breast cancer. She was the only breast cancer link in the family that I knew of.
How old was she when she died?
Oh, an old lady. Then there was Gertrude, called Billy, which is Karen's grandmother.
No, wait, back up a second. The one you just mentioned?
No, not B. B was the oldest. Then there was Billy.
Oh, B is who died of breast cancer?
Yeah.
Did she have kids?
Yeah, Anita. She had Anita, who married Hal. And maybe she might have had a son named Bob. They were so much older than me, I didn't really know them. They all lived in California. She was supposed to be drop dead beautiful B. Like movie star beautiful when she was young.
But so we've lost touch completely with that part of the family.
Yeah, completely. Now Mary, Karen's mother, probably knows something of them.
Mm-hmm.
But they all lived in California.
Mary is Billy's daughter.
Right, and Karen's mother. And so went to California once when I was 2 and once when I was 7. That would have been when I met that part of the family, so I don't have, and
Hold on.